Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again, and today's episode of Do You Remember is going to be on Destroy All Humans. So let's get right into it. Now, Destroy All Humans essentially became a pretty popular gaming series back in the mid-2000s. It was a game that kind of broke new ground in terms of, I guess, kind of what they could get away with for a teen-rated game. There was a lot of things in here where, like, coming back to it, and just getting gameplay for this video, I was like, wow, they got away with some interesting and kind of racy stuff, to put it lightly. But for the most part, I think it also got a lot of attention just because of its sheer amount of fun. So the overall premise is that you're an alien from an alternate planet that is coming to Earth to essentially take over its inhabitants and do scientific, quote-unquote, research on the humans inhabiting Earth. And doing this, you have pretty much a blatant disregard for human life at all costs. So you can go around playing this kind of like Grand Theft Auto in a way, where you have this open world, so to speak. It is sectioned off in different levels, so it's not as grand a scope as like the Grand Theft Auto maps have been in the past. However, it's the same formula where you do have this open world section where you can roam around, cause destruction, do whatever you want, and you do even have the GTA style alert system that you can get the cops on you, the army, and even up to the FBI. Obviously, each one of those sections becomes more difficult to handle, and thus you probably will not survive once you get to the FBI section on that list, but it's still really cool how they set this up, where it's more of just a GTA for teenagers. I wouldn't say for kids. There's a lot of things in this game that I'm surprised it didn't get a mature rating in the ending anyway, but you can see that the developers had a lot of fun with this game, and it really shows off to the player. I can't tell you enough how many times as a kid I came back to Destroy All Humans, even after I beat the entire story mode, which I want to say on a first-time playthrough is roughly like 9 to 12 hours on average in length. So not super long for a single-player game in the mid-2000s, especially on the PlayStation 2 system. However, this game definitely makes up for it with its amount of replayability, and again, with its open-world nature, where you can go to the level even if you're not in a mission, mess around, kill some humans, probe some humans, become a human, and even just like mess around people with your mind controls. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different weapons to choose from as well. They do give you a few different tools to your disposal to essentially eradicate the human race. So you get a couple different weapons, from a Zap-O-Matic to a laser gun, which is like a plasma rifle that shoots these balls of orange light that basically melt people to the bone. It looks super cool, and the effect to this day still looks really well done. You also get a probing gun and even like a mine thrower, which you pretty much self-explanatory. It throws a giant mine out, it explodes with a huge radius. You can destroy vehicles with it, and it's really good for shooting down boss battles. But yeah, all around, the real star of the show, in my opinion, is Kratos and the voice acting. So the voice acting is done by Grant Albrick, if I've said that name correctly. He just steals the show. I love his voice. I love his mannerisms. The writing itself is just insanely good. Even coming back to it this day, it's cheesy as all hell, but that's the whole point of it.
Crypto here. How's the view from the safety of the mothership?
Very funny. Let's just say I'm glad I'm up here and you're down there. Loathsome little planet. Now, Crypto!
They eat with their mouths. Ugh. I think I'm going to be violently ill.
Martha, you didn't tell me we was having barbecue for dinner. Wait a minute, that ain't steak. That's holy mother... Martha, give me the shotgun.
Evening, Ms. Turnipseed. We got a call from Farmer Dixon over the other side of the state road. Said he heard some pretty strange noises coming from over this way.
What is that? A new silo?
It takes place in like the 1960s, so it's meant to be that old school kind of classic American feel to it, and it's absolutely hilarious. On top of that, Orthopox, which essentially is Crypto's mom in a way, or just the leader of the mothership that's telling him what to do, is played by Richard Horowitz, which if you don't know who he is, he's an amazing voice actor. Right now, his main thing is Hell of a Boss on YouTube. Highly recommend checking out that animated series if you haven't yet. It's a lot of fun, and it's really interesting. On top of that, he's also been Invader Zim in the past, and a couple other cartoons you may have grown up with. So yeah, amazing voice acting across the board, and not only just the main characters in this game, but the side characters are all really well done. Again, really good writing, and also just going through the level, like I stated, like GTA style, and messing around with the random NPCs. There's a lot of really hilarious voice quips to be heard that you could literally spend hours just going through one level, messing around with random people and hearing different voice quips for hours, and just kind of giggling to yourself with how much love and craft was put into this game.
Oh, I think I just herniated. Ouch! Careful of my sciatica.
Devil!
Don't make me sue you. Gosh darn it! It's my hot
You ain't welcome here.
Well, this is certainly a novel experience.
And the really cool thing is, even though there are different levels, it kind of adds more to the game because every level has their own identity and their own kind of feeling to them. And every NPC is actually different at every level too. It's not just the same rehearsed NPC models and same voice actors either. So I really love that about Destroy All Humans. There's a lot of versatility in the level design and what you can do on each level. And especially, again, with like finding what you can see around it as well is all completely different depending on which one you choose. All the gameplay you're seeing here is relatively early in the game because sadly, this is with an emulator and I didn't have my hardware set up to actually show you my original game save where 100% of this game. And that's not even talking about the remakes that recently came out. So if you guys didn't know, THQ North essentially came back together. It's all the original devs of Destroy All Humans 1 and 2. And they came back together to create beautiful remasters or complete remakes of the very first Destroy All Humans, and an even better, in my opinion, remake of Destroy All Humans 2. I might make a video on those in the future, but I really just want to talk about the OG here because it still stands the test of time. If I was to complain about this game a little bit, the few things I can complain about are the graphics just don't really hold up. There are some things that still look good. I think Kratos' model looks really good. I think the environments look pretty decent. But the human models, like the NPCs, all look really terrible. Like, even for this time, like, they just really don't stand up to today's graphics at all. You know, that's an obvious statement, but also there's a lot of PS2 games I can come back to this day, and I still think they hold up, and they don't really, the graphics don't really scream to me like, wow, this came out, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. Where this one, yeah, it really does. The other gripe I have with Destroy All Humans is the lack of mobility. So in the remakes, they actually fixed this with giving Kratos kind of like a skateboard in a way, where there's invisible skates on his feet and he can glide around the floor, and it's really fun just to get around the levels. You don't have that luxury, sadly, in the original. So there's a lot of running around. You do have a jetpack, but it's very limited, especially early on in the game, which kind of sucks. So you can't really fly too far without it running on a juice. And thus, again, you're kind of stuck with just running around these relatively large levels. So that can kind of weigh down on you a little bit, but you don't really notice it too much just because of how much fun you're going to be having with messing around with so many different NPCs and causing havoc throughout the level itself. There are upgrades throughout the game as well, which is pretty cool. You can upgrade your guns, you can upgrade your psychokinetic abilities, you can upgrade Kratos' jetpack like I stated before, and then the last part that I think is probably the most known part of Destroy All Humans, or the one that kind of sticks in everyone's mind, is not only can you be on the ground running around and killing people, but you can get in your flying saucer, fly around, and completely obliterate every building in the entire level. And I'm not even exaggerating. So it kind of makes up for the lack of graphics with how much destructibility was shown in an early 2000s video game. So with the spaceship, you have a couple different weapons right out the gate, which is pretty awesome. They definitely upgraded this in Destroy All Humans 2. They added way more weapons, way more stuff to do with the saucer, and it's a lot more fun of a game, in my opinion, than the first one. But I still have a very special place in my heart for the OG, just for what it gave us right out of the gate. But yeah, in the flying saucer, you have a laser gun, you have like a sonic boom gun. I believe they also, in this game, had the gravity mine gun, which you shoot it down and it would suck cars into it. I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But yeah, you had a few different weapons at your disposal with the flying saucer. You could even cloak it to go invisible for a while if you wanted the heat to leave you alone. And again, you can just completely obliterate everything in the level, including the buildings, which is just super sweet to see. So yeah, I mean, Destroy All Humans, it definitely holds a special place in my heart. I can come back to this game today and end up having a great time with it. I only meant to record like 15 minutes tops of gameplay for this today, and I ended up recording over an hour and a half because I just had so much fun messing around with the different NPCs and not even really doing the main missions. And don't get me wrong, the main missions were just as good today as they were back in the day. Again, they have a lot of funny comedy in them, and they keep you on your toes. None of them get monotonous or boring, at least from my experience. And the boss battles are pretty well done as well. From what I remember, the only downside of the actual story was the final boss. I remember that one being overly ridiculous, way too difficult, and I had to restart that one at least like 15 times. Because I've beaten this game all the way through at least 3 separate times in my life, and I remember that final boss was a bitch. But yeah, everything else about Destroy All Humans, I gotta give it an A+. There's even a ton of unlockables you can find throughout the game, including there's literally like full-blown B movies you can find by doing secret events within the game too, which is super funny. I don't know how they got away with it. I'm assuming they had the rights to do it, or maybe because they hid it behind some type of Easter egg. That's how they were able to get away with it. I don't know. But needless to say, it's still super cool that they were able to add that in the game, and it just kind of adds more to the replayability of like going back in, doing the secret objectives, and then unlocking an entire like 1940s, 1950s horror movie that you can watch in its full length in the game. So yeah, Destroy All Humans is a very underrated gem of a game. I really would love, with the hype and the success of these 2 remakes that recently came out, I would love if they could make their very own 3rd game. Like, not a remake of the Path of the Furon, which was a massive failure. That game was terrible. If they could actually make a legitimate Destroy Humans 3 from the ground up with a new story and everything, I would be all for it. I would be promoting it like nobody's business, and I definitely would play it on this channel. But with that being said, let me know in the comment section below, do you guys remember Destroy All Humans? Did you play it as a kid? What were your favorite parts about it? And if you haven't heard about it, and this is your first time seeing gameplay of it, what do you think of it? Is this a game you might check out for yourself? Let me know. So with that, leave a like, share, support as always, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. Before we head out, I want to give a huge special thank you to our channel members. These are amazing people who are wanting to support the channel and the content here. And if you want to do the same, you can click the little join button underneath every single new upload. And in becoming a channel member not only supports me and the channel, but also gives you a ton of perks in doing so, including early access to new content and being a part of exclusive polls and information that other people would not be able to access. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you again so much for the love and support, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out.